everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Heather and I have a voice problem. Oh, you guys, my name is Heather and I yelled too much this weekend and this is what we've gotten. All right, so we are a fun, fabulous sewing tutorial channel. We do awesome projects all the time. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've never been here before, welcome. If you've been here, welcome back. Today we're doing something super fun and brand new. So we have a brand new designer and a brand new pattern. Today we're making the gift shoulder bag from Awesome Sew Pattern. And the finished dimensions of this bag, it is 10 inches wide, 6.5 inches in height, and 4 inches in depth. I'll be drinking that a lot. Here we go, you guys. Here she is. Such a cutie. Our Decoville is like, oh, it got wrinkly in there, so don't mind it. But she is adorable. I love the bow. It is the first time I've ever made a bow with a separate ends. And I have to say, like, I am obsessed with it. Obsessed. So we have, it is so cute, you guys. It's a shoulder bag. Shoulder bag. And it's awesome. I think it's going to be so fun. We did make a few modifications. We do the strap a little bit different. You guys know I'm not a big strap girl, and so I changed it a teeny tiny bit. I also don't use the glue that's in the pattern. I wanted to show everybody that you don't have to use the double-sided tape or the glue. I know some of us, our machines really struggle with that, like mine. And so I just wanted to show you that it's possible to do this without it. I do glue the bow because we don't sew over that or anything, so not going to get in the way. So yeah, just a couple of different things going on. Let's get on into our materials. Oh, I will also link everything I absolutely can below. Let's get into our materials and our sewing of this really cute bag. All right, so here are our materials. We have our number 5 zipper tape and pull, and we're going antique bronze with our hardware today. We have our 2 exterior panels, and this is a poly from Wonderground Fabrics. I just love the color of it. It's like that Tiffany blue color. It's beautiful. Here we have what we need for our bow. Okay, this is from Oh So Pretty Custom Fabrics. It's like a sparkle vinyl, and I thought this would be cute for the center piece of the bow. And then we have our 2 tail cuts and our main bow piece. Okay, so that's what we need for that. We have our interfacing cut. Now, the pattern piece for the interfacing is not one whole piece. It is like half and on the fold. And so you just want to make sure that when you are cutting this out, you cut it out together as one piece, because we're going to adhere it after we combine our 2 exterior panels. Okay. We have our interior. We have our facings in that same Polytech. We have our 2 slip pocket pieces, and this is a waterproof canvas from Oh So Pretty Custom Fabrics. And then we have our 2 main lining pieces here. We have our bag tag, which is custom from Heartwood and Hide Co. And this is going to go on the inside since we have that large bow statement piece on the outside. We're going to put our bag tag on the inside of this. We have 2 rectangle rings in antique bronze. Okay. And then we are using this strapping for our strap connector pieces and for our handle also. So instead of making our own per the pattern, we're going to use this. I like the brown and the blue combo, and this is pre-made. I will link it if I can. I'll link everything that I can in the description box below. All right, so let's head on over and combine our 2 main panels so we can get to fusing our interfacing on. All right, we are at the machine, which is a Juki TL2010Q. We are using Tex 35 weight thread from Wizardry Stitchery. We have a Microtex 9014 needle in, and we are using our tank foot. And I know you guys, they're not available. I'm sorry, but it's my favorite, so I keep using it, and hopefully they'll become available again. All right, so our first step here is we're just going to clip the bottom on our two exterior pieces, and then we're putting them right sides together. And we're going to go ahead and stitch the bottom together using the seam allowance in the pattern. And that noise is just the back of my tank foot. All right. Now the pattern is going to tell you to open this and use double-sided tape or glue, but you do not have to use either of those. My machine does not like to sew through that stuff. So we're gonna smush real good, and then we're gonna take it slow because we're gonna top stitch on either side of our seam here, and so we're just gonna work it out. Save our machine from getting mad at us. Okay, so we're gonna stitch 1/8 of an inch away from each side of our bottom seam, and I'm just keeping my hand underneath over here to make sure that where we're sewing stays flat. I am back stitching also. So, okay, so we're just gonna keep making sure we're flat all the way. And then we are just going to scooch on over. And we're going to go down the other side exactly the same way. There we go. Our top stitch is done on that, and that holds down our center pieces, and that will enable us to go ahead and fuse our stabilizer piece. You can see we have middle marks, center. So we're going to go over to our materials table. We're going to fuse this down exactly where it's supposed to be, and then we'll be able to come back and work on our zipper. All right, you guys, so we have our stabilizer. We also have cut our slits for our bow that we'll put in later. And there are two different methods of zipper installation available to you. So we're going with option number 2. If you're going with option number 1, you would not be putting your zipper on yet. Option number 2 has us put our zipper on before we connect our panels. So I've done that on this one side here, and we're going to do it together on the other side. My voice goes. All right. There are really good instructions in the pattern. First of all, you can't see it probably because it's in white, but there are marks per the pattern in on both sides, and this is where we're going to sew our zipper in. Now, what's important about this installation is that our zippers have the same 90-degree angle on the same side, okay? So we're going to make sure, and we just have burnt our edges and then stitched down, basted down. We've done these a bunch of times. So we're going to start our zipper about 1/8 of an inch away from the top edge and right on that mark that we made. I know you guys can't see that, but I promise it's there. So we're going to line this up all the way across, and that little 1/8 of an inch is just going to give our zipper a little bit of movement. This is a slight curve, which can sometimes be difficult. All right, and I'm going to transfer the mark onto our zipper tape so that we can see it, because that's where we are going to stop our sewing. Okay. So we're going to start here. We're going to stop at our 90-degree angle. Okay, and we're going to sew it just 1/8 of an inch. So we're just basting this on for now. And just do the best you can to keep it, you know, as even as possible. And our zipper is right side down, and our zipper teeth is far away from the edge here, okay? Those things are important. And you will be able to get this back together, I promise. The first time I pulled apart zipper tape, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? What if I can't get it back where it belongs? Of course I could, but that always goes through your head. Okay. Just trimming up our threads here. So again, both of our sides look like this. So you can see we have our 90-degree on the same side. We have our long tails on the same side. All right, so now we're good to go, and we're good to combine our panels. So we're going to do right sides together. Make sure our zipper ends stay out of the way here. I already feel like this is such a cute bag. You know how you get this like feeling? This is going to come out super cute. All right, we're going to sew down both sides of our exterior with the seam allowance given in the pattern. All the way from the top to the bottom. Make sure your zipper tape is out of the way here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And it should run pretty parallel with your interfacing. You should not be sewing over your interfacing. Now before we box our corners, we are just going to make a line all the way around. Okay, so we're marking a 1/2 inch. From the top. This is curved, so we're gonna have to move it occasionally, make sure. But you get sort of the gist of where I'm headed with this. I'm gonna need this later. All right. So yeah, you're just aiming for a 1/2 inch all the way around here. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay. And it's okay if it's, you know, it looks like mine, which is, it's a little wild, but that's all right. It's all going to come together. All right, we're going to box our corners now, and then we're all done with the exterior for the time being. Okay, so we're just going to take it. We're going to center. We are going to butterfly our seam open. My material's a little slick, but you can just match up your center markings. Okay. And that will box that corner. And then same thing over here. And if you've never boxed a corner before, you just kind of stick your fingers in there, and we're just going to maneuver it all to match each other. As straight across as possible. Sometimes I'm a real bad cutter, and straight is not straight. But you know what? That's okay. Because in the end, we're going to stitch straight, and that's all that matters. Usually. All right, so there we go for that. Corners are boxed. Now we're going to stitch them together, following the seam allowance. This guy came a little undone here. Gotta fix him. All right. Again, we're going to follow the seam allowance here. Make sure everything is where we want it to be. And this should run parallel to your interfacing again. We're just going to straighten out our line a little bit. There we go. And we can look in here That looks like a good box to me. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side that we just did, and then we're gonna leave our bag as is for now. So right side in, wrong side out. And we're gonna move on to our exterior. So we have moved on to the lining. We've done one panel and we will do this one together, but we're gonna attach our top facing. And so your facing pieces, they're gonna have sort of like, they're gonna match basically up, and you're gonna put them right sides together and just clip all the way across. And there is like there's a curve, and it's like sort of backwards. And so you're gonna have to just manipulate your fabric just a little bit, and you're also gonna have to just be mindful when you're sewing, sort of go with the flow and the shape of where it wants to go. And we're following the seam allowance here. And the seam allowances are given in all the steps of the pattern, so there is no confusion. I appreciate the no confusion. Just holding up this panel to help match that curve. And then when you flip it, it's like perfect. See that? And that's what you're looking for. All right, so we're gonna leave our excess seam allowance behind our top facing, and we're gonna top stitch on our top facing. And I'm just continuing to push away to make sure we get everything where we want it. Back stitch. And there we go. Perfect. Exactly what we were looking for there. Now we can make our slip pocket. And I have put our bag tag on our slip pocket, so we're just going to be mindful of of how we sew this so that our bag tag doesn't end up upside down, because that would be a disaster. So we're just putting these right sides together. I'm going to clip all the way around. And then we're just going to take our small square and we're going to make some marks. So we're just taking our air erasing marker, and let me make sure. We're going to do this on the bottom. You could do it on the top also. It's sort of personal preference, but we're just going to leave our turn hole on the bottom. I prefer to leave it on the bottom. because it's less likely to be noticeable. No one's like looking at the bottom of your pocket. All right. So we're going to leave this bottom part open for us to turn. And the rest of it, again, we're following the seam allowance given in the pattern. Make sure you do a good back stitch here where you're going to be turning your pocket. Making sure we turn at the right spot. We're going all the way across the top. And then back to that mark. Good back stitch. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna make sure that we clip our corners really close to the stitching, but not through it. This will help us turn out our corners really nicely. Okay, this next step has you turning and using glue. Again, just because my machine is not a fan of glue, we're just going to turn the traditional way. I'm going to actually trim down a little bit more of this seam allowance here. On the 3 finished sides, there we go. And this is waterproof canvas, so it's going to be a little more difficult to get that turn. Just going to have to work it out a little bit. So we're just going to get in there, make sure we push out our corners real good. Get a turning tool in there in a second. Something round, not sharp, that can help you really push that corner out. The better you push it out, the better you'll be able to do your top stitch and your side stitching, because it won't be so bulky, so you do want to just pay attention to that. And then down here, I'm going to push out our corners down here as well. Now there is the option to make this a dual slip pocket, so to sew down the center, but because I really wanted to put our bag tag here in the center of this slip pocket, we're just going to leave it as one. And it'll be, you know, a pocket for our phone, oops, or something like that. And then we're just going to pop our fingers in the turn hole and we're going to turn that down to match our base. Looks like we need to do a little more work on our corners. See, it's just a cute little slip pocket. You could also, if you wanted, add a zip pocket on the inside. Kind of like a you do you thing, you know? All right, we'll go in once again. We're just going to clip. Okay, there we go. And that's kind of why I like to have it on the bottom. You don't see that. Okay, we're going to top stitch the top of our pocket. That was just the back of my tank foot catching the fabric. Okay, there we go. Nice little top stitch. Easy peasy. All right, then we're going to take one of our panels. We're going to take our handy dandy hockey tape, which is not technically a sewing notion, but it is here in this house. And I'm just creasing. This waterproof canvas creases really well to find the center. I will crease this also. Just burning the ends of that thread. Okay. And we want this to be an inch down from our stitches, so it's actually perfect right there where it is. And I used the same fabric, but just going in a different direction because I thought it gave a kind of a different vibe while also being the same. All right, so you need something to hold your slip pocket down. So we're using hockey tape because that's what we have a lot of here. Don't want it to move. And then one more on the bottom. Okay, let's just put this away really quickly. All right. And now we're going to take it and we're just going to top stitch these other three sides onto the panel. And that will create our slip pocket. Just want to make sure that you backstitch really well at the top because it's going to get a lot of use. And we do want to make sure that we remove our tape before we sew over it. So it's just temporary to keep it where we want it. And as we get to this open part at the bottom, we're just going to stop and remove our clips as well. Another piece of tape. And then back up the final side here. That's just a bulky bit there at the top. Again, we're just going to make sure we backstitch well. Okay, there we go. There's our slip pocket. See how it's just because it's going a different direction, it's like contrasting but also the same. Perfect. So now what we need to do is place our panels right sides together just like we did for our exterior. We're going to make sure that we are matched up here where our seams meet. And same thing on this side. Where the seams meet is the most important part that you want to make sure matches. And then the rest you can finagle. You can work out. All right, so here we're just going down the sides. And just pay attention, the seam allowance is going to change here. It's going to get a little larger as you come to the bottom, and that will help prevent a saggy lining. So again, just be mindful of that. I'm going to do the same thing down both sides. Okay, second side here. So now we're actually going to do some work on our connector pieces. So let's grab those. All right, so because we're not making our strap, we're not doing that section because we're going to use this pre-made. And our strap connectors, we don't have to do the fold over or anything like that either because again, this is already pre-made. So basically what we need to do here is slide on our rectangle ring. Okay, and we want this to overhang 2 inches. so that looks to be about 2 inches. I'm just gonna clip for now, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other one. All right, so these are all set. Also, we marked that same 1/2 inch mark all the way around our interior, but we did not glue it back again because we're not gluing. So it will be fine. There are ways to do this without glue, which is what I'm showing you. Just that way, you know, if you have a machine like mine, you can still make this without gumming anything up. All right, so what we need to do now is measure 2 inches from the top. And it should be the bottom of your overhang. And what we're going to do is go ahead and top stitch the overhang piece here, and that will secure this part of the D-ring and the strap while we work on getting them connected to our panel. I think this is a really cool way to do a strap connector. I've never seen one done like this before, and I've never done one like this before either. So I love learning new things. Trying new techniques out. I think it's really fun. I mean, let's face it, anytime you can learn a new technique for a strap connector, it's good to have those in your back pocket. And we're just going to go as far as we can up here without sort of interfering with that D-ring, rectangle ring. And then go straight across. Back down. Okay, it tells you not to backstitch, but we backstitched and that's totally fine. All right. So there we go, that one. We're gonna do the same thing for this one, and then we'll come back. Okay, so this next part, it's going to be really difficult for me to show you sewing, so I'm not going to put you through that torture, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to sew it. So these are going to be sewn into the lining. So we're going to open up our seams, and I'm going to keep this the wrong way because it's going to be easier for me to sew like that. So I'm going to open this guy up. I'm going to find the center. I'm going to clip them. This will just give us an idea. All right. So you can see we're going to stitch this to our side lining, and we're only stitching up to where we sewed our initial stitching, and this will keep these connectors out of our seam allowance altogether, which is fabulous because you don't have to worry about that extra bulk. But when I go to put this in the machine, it's going to be almost impossible for you to see, almost possible for me to see. But this is how we're going to stitch it. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to make sure everything is aligned all the way up and straight. I'm going to clip this D-ring to the top. On both sides. And I'm just going to I'm going to put this in the machine. I'm going to do a stitch down, and then I'm going to do a stitch down, and I'll go across. So I'm going to do that on both sides and connect these, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the final product, and we will do the next steps together. All right, so here's what we have. I still can't see it. Hang on. I'm just trimming the threads here. So now we have these guys in here on our side panel on the inside, and at the end we are going to tack these down through both layers of our bag. So I'm not worried about this, but this keeps it out of our seam allowance, which I think is fantastic. All right, so now that we have that in, we can go ahead and match up our bottom. Which is going to be a little more work now that we have those sides in there. There's two options for the strap connectors, so definitely keep that in mind too. If you don't want to use like the vinyl or your exterior material, there's a second strap option in there, which I absolutely love that there are different options for different folks, because I think that's part of what's so important about sewing, is that you get those different options. All right, we're going to use the seam allowance and the pattern and stitch together our bottom. And now we're going to do our sides. And so we are going to be getting our vinyl piece in there. Pretty important for us, actually. So we're just going to box our bottom. We're going to butterfly open our bottom seam here along the base. We will cut away our excess also. We got a little extra going on. Same thing on this side. Butterfly open our seam. Okay, and now we're going to stitch our corners. Just going to lay this seam flat so that we don't run into any issues. And we're going over that bulk here, so we're just taking our time. I'm just going to straighten that line out. Again, we got a little off course. That happened to us last time also. All right, we're going to cut that bulk off here, as we talked about. Not too much, because we need to do a little bit of work there. Okay, same thing here. Flatten that out. We're going in. I always just take a look, see how it looks. Right, this is going to be on the inside, so I mean, it's not like it's going to be anything that you see or anything like that, but I like to take a little look-see. Looks like actually one of our stitches is a little big, so we're going to go over that section one more time. That's just that bulk section, so coming in and out of that bulky bit. Okay. All right, you guys, now we're going to get our exterior. And I want to be mindful. So this is our front panel. So let me work through this here. Yes, that's what we're working with. Because we want our slip pocket to be on the back and our bows on the front. Okay. So we're going to come down here and we actually are going to connect our corners. That's going to keep your strap connector grounded, basically, is what we're going to call it. It's just going to keep it so that it's attached to your handbag at the bottom so that you know, when you pull on it, your just lining doesn't just come up. Okay. And we're just gonna follow a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. It might be a little weird. It might get a little weird. We just really want to anchor that strap. So that's what we're gonna roll with here. And just take your time. Obviously, you're going to have bulkier parts now that you have everything sort of together. Okay, that side stitched pretty well. Go ahead and do this side. I'm just pulling it to make sure it stays lined up, basically. All right. Now, what we're supposed to do is turn our panel. Oh, nervous now. Over our lining. Okay, I'm just kind of grabbing those corners. pulling them out, like gently but firmly. Okay. All right. Our stabilizer got a little funky in there. We'll have to work on that. But we've got a bag. Looks pretty good. Okay, all right. I can see where this is going. Can you see it? We're gonna take a little break from this. Oh, that Decaville. I'm gonna have to iron that out somehow. We're gonna work on a bow. I'll take our big bow panel and we're gonna fold it so that the right sides of the long sides are together. And right now we're just gonna clip the top. And then on this side that we just clipped, we're going to stitch together using the seam allowance given all the way down. All right. Again, where the instructions will tell you to use glue or double-sided tape to sort of push this down, we're just going to go ahead and turn our panel to the right side. Let's see. Carefully. All right, so we're just going to keep going down this until we get it turned all the way right side out. Okay, we are right side out, and we're just going to put our, what we just sewed right in the center. And I'm actually going to clip down both sides to make sure. Make sure that we're centered. I've made a few bows for bags before, and I've actually never made one like this, so I'm excited. Again, just like learning new and different ways to do things is so important. Also love to see the different ways that people do things. You know, like how one mind creates something, a different mind can create something, you know, very similar, the same way, and yet it's totally different. All right. Now we're going to top stitch down both of these lines that we just clipped. And I'm going to do it from this side because this will end up being the right side of our panel. That's one side, and now we'll do the other. I think bows are going to be really in for 2025, which I'm super excited about because they're such a cool accessory. All right. Let's clip our threads. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find the center. And we're going to take and fold this just about a ½ inch over center. On both sides. So there's an overlap. Like so. And then we're just going to mark our center marking. Okay, and we're going to put a stitch there. Just right down the center, and that will overlap both of these pieces in the back. And this is just that middle seam. You can hear my machine chugging through it. not going to see the center of this anyway, so it's not going to make a difference. This is just to tack in place. All right, good for that. All right, so now we have our bow tails, and we're going to put these right sides together. There are, you can go around and make the marks, the 1/4 inch marks all the way, but we're going to follow the 1/4 inch seam allowance on our guide. That will help us. We have marked these per the pattern. We're just clipping all the way around, even though we're not going to sew all the way around. Okay, so what we're going to do now is from this mark, we're going to sew all the way over, around, and to this other mark. We're going to leave this whole top side open. Just make sure you follow the curve of your bow tail. It's going to be a pretty tight corner here. And just right back to that mark and back stitch. All right, we're going to make a series of cuts to make this turning sort of easier. So we're just going to slit into this inner curve here, but don't cut through your threads. We're going to get rid of those corners. And we're just going to relief cut around those corners also. And we're just going to further those relief cuts with sort of triangle cuts here. Cut away some of the fabric, some of the excess. If you have peeking shears that are good, you can also use peeking shears for this. But you're really just trying to sort of make it so that you have a really nice turnout. Okay, so we're just going to make those cuts all the way around. Anywhere where we've got this V going on, we have our slits in the middle. And again, there are different ways to do this, and there are fabulous instructions in the pattern, so you do you. You don't like something that I'm doing, that's totally fine. You can make your own choices. All right. We're going to turn this now. And again, here, she has you using glue or double-sided tape, which is totally, totally fine, except that I know that I would not be able to make this successfully. My machine would gum up so bad. So we're trying to do this and show you that you can absolutely use glue or double-sided tape, but you also don't have to. All right, we're going to use our turn tool. We want to get into our corners. Turn everything out nicely. We are going to top stitch, and so we want to be mindful of that bulkiness. We also want a nice shape to our little bow ends. Okay. So cute. Oh my gosh. Stop. All right, I'm just going to keep turning these ends out, and then we will come back. All right. Off to the side here, we glued our bow, and we're using just some thread that we'll be able to either cut off or you won't see because it'll have the center to hold it together while it's just hanging out there. Okay, so now we are going to, we turned in our open side and clipped it again, so you can use glue, but you don't have to. And then we're just going to top stitch around this whole thing. And I'm going to start in the center because the center will be behind and you'll never see it. So you won't see the back stitching or anything like that. And this is just the bulky bit in the corner here. We're going to finagle our way around. make it a bit bulky over here as well. We did our best to push out the corners. And, you know, it's okay. I like how they look, so I'm good with that. And we're just going to take our time around this curve. Probably move our presser foot a few times. You won't really see this either, so it's not such a huge deal. That will be sort of behind the bow and the bow anchor. Okay, there we go. The top is not pretty, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be. Okay, so cute. Oh my gosh. All right, so our last bit for our bow is going to be our anchor. And I'm going to take this off here soon when I'm sure that the glue has dried. That way I can glue the bow onto the bow end as we wait to sort of put all of our pieces together. So this is almost dry, and then I'm going to glue it to the back of here and press it together somehow, probably more thread, just to hold it in place. So this is super sticky, and I know that I need to change my presser foot. So before we do that, we're just going to find the center, and we're just going to crease. And then we're folding our ends into the center long ways. I just thought this little pop of sparkle would be a fun addition to our bow. Spice it up a little bit. And you're just folding into center. You're not overlapping or anything like that. You'll never see the back side of this bow. Okay. And we're going to top stitch down these sides, but I'm going to put my Teflon foot on because I know the Teflon foot will top stitch without any issues. So I'm going to change that out and then we'll stitch this together. All right, our Teflon foot is on and we've glued our bow ends to our bow, retied it with our string to hold it in place. Okay, we are going to stitched on both sides of our bow connector. And we're just going to go ahead and go all the way across down here at the bottom. We're never going to see the bottom, so it'll be inside the bag. I'm not really worried about it. See, this Teflon foot is perfect for this, and the tank foot is great, but it would not have sewn over this fabric. It would be too sticky. The Teflon foot is great if you're staying at the same height of materials. When you start to have an issues, like when you are going over inconsistent heights of materials. Okay, see, let's bring this bow over. It's going to add such a cute little bit of bling to the middle. So we need to let this dry, and then we will make sure everything is set. We'll attach it to our bag. In the meantime, I'm just going to try to get out some of our wrinkles from our Decaville so that when we look at our finished bag together, we're not seeing just wrinkles all over the place. So I'm going to do that while this dries, and then we'll come back together and we're going to finish our bag, you guys. All right. We are glued together, and I left the thread and we're just going to, you could glue this on as well, but we're not going to. We're just going to make sure we're sort of centered. And I'm just going to push through those slits that we made. You want this to be a really nice tight fit. Okay. We'll stick our bow in a second. Try to get some of those wrinkles out. We're gonna work on it. Okay, I can feel this side. And it's a little funky to show on camera, but now they have you, the pattern designer has you using glue on the inside to hold this down. We are going to use rivets. I can feel that bottom one, and we're just going to pull it nice and tight. See how cute. And the tighter you get that in there, the more secure your bow will be. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to put a rivet in the top and the bottom in the center. I'm going to do that off camera because my rivet machine is off camera, but we're just going to pop a rivet in right in the center, and same thing on the bottom. So I'll show you. We'll just make a mark. Okay. There, and then we'll make another similar mark down there. Once we're going to do the top first so that we have that secured. Okay, and then we'll secure the bottom down here, and that will make sure that our bow is not going to go anywhere for a very long time. All right, so I'm going to do that off camera and then come back. All right, there we go. Our bow is on, it's secure. It is definitely not going anywhere at all. All right, so now what we're going to do, because we didn't do it before, is we're going to fold over per the instructions all the way around, and we're going to clip. So we're folding our exterior in, okay? And we're folding our interior out. So I'm going to do both of those simultaneously and clip them together, and I'll show you sort of what I mean here. So we are clipping. So that will be our top zipper. Okay. And we're going to do that sort of all the way around our bag, and then we're going to take our interior piece and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold it over and we're going to match it with our exterior like so. Okay, and that will allow us to do our top stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and clip all of this together, and so this is because we didn't want to glue or tape. So again, you can do it per the pattern. You can also do it like this, and it's going to end up totally fine as well. So we're going to do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and clip all the way around, and then we'll come back together for the stitching. All right, you guys, we are all clipped together, and we're going to start just on the back within the zipper, probably over here to the edge. Really doesn't matter all too much. We'll just make sure we don't sew over our strap connectors. At the end, we're going to go ahead and rivet these to the side so that they stand up straight. But for now, we're going to leave them, let them hang out in there. Make sure you don't sew your strap ends in, and we're just going to really carefully take our time and top stitch around. I'm going to make sure we have enough bobbin. We do. Oh, we need to change out our foot too. So I'm going to change this out and then we'll top stitch. All right, we got a tank foot in. We're going to hold our breath and we're just going to take our time, and we're going to see what happens. Big thing here just being that we, you know, don't rush anything. It's going to be a little difficult to see. Change the angle a little bit. I'm going to have to get in here too. So apologies in advance. Again, we just want to take our time here, try to lay flat what's in front of us. Make sure we don't get our zipper ends. And we're coming up to the bulky bits here, so we're just going to be mindful of that. We are taking our time already, but we're just going to be super cautious as we come to those side seams. So you can hear going through those extra bits. And we're just taking it one stitch at a time, which I'm totally fine with. Okay, we're on the front now. This bow is going to be a bulky bit for us. Patience will be your friend on this one, I promise. We're going to be coming up here on our zipper tape, our 90-degree angle. So this will be another bit that we really want to take our time on. When you go over zipper teeth, it can be difficult. You do not want to break a needle. These are not metal, but still. Okay, we're coming back around to a corner, or not a corner, but where these seams meet each other. A naturally bulky bit. So we're going to take it one stitch at a time as we did on the other side. Which I am totally fine with. Okay, once again, we're coming to zipper teeth. Just get this. Okay, we're almost back where we started. Let's make sure that stays where we want it. Okay, and we're just going to back stitch. All right, let's take a look. All right, so I'm not gonna lie, the top stitch piece was difficult with the zipper. Got a little bit close in some areas. I'm just cutting our threads here. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm not super concerned about it. We're gonna let it be. We are gonna let it be. Okay. So like, see here. That's the boo-boo. But it's hard when there's zippers in between because you can't tell if your fabric is really like matched up or not. So it's just a learning curve. I'm okay with that. It is what it is. We have our zipper pull. And go ahead and put this on. We're a little close here. Yeah, and that bit that we got a little bit close, we're sticking a little bit, but that's okay. So we've got our strap cut out. We're just gonna burn the end of our zipper. We don't have any metal ends, so we are actually going to use our no. What will we do? I think we have some scrappies. We'll go ahead and make a zipper end just out of our blue. Okay, so just a little sandwich. Just kind of like making a zipper tab, but that's gonna stick out. And then we'll just snip the sides. Just trying to get the zipper underneath. There we go. And like I said, this is just like making a zipper tab. We're going to tuck this into our bag. So if you don't have a zipper end that's metal, this is a good solution for you. Just kind of make one. And cut off the excess. Okay, we're going to stick that down in there. And then, like I said, we're going to rivet these upwards. So we want to clip. Okay. And clip. And you don't want to go through your seam or anything like that, so let me just get a clip on here. What we're going to do is we're just going to go right to the side of the seam. And down about an inch. Three-quarters of an inch. We'll do the same thing over here. Go down just a little bit. All right, we're going to pop holes. We'll use this fella. And then we just got to get this fella out. Made a good hole there. Grab our rivets. Looks like we have to punch through the leather, not leather, vinyl of our strap because it didn't punch all the way. Okay. Let's see. Do we have longer? Okay, we do. We're going to use our longer rivets here because we're going through a lot of material. And we're going to rivet our strap on also, which I will do off camera because it's very similar to what we're doing right now. I will show you before I do it though, so you can see the process. And we just want to push that end through so that we can get our other side on. Okay, so temporarily for now, we'll do the same thing over here on the other side. And then with our strap, which like I said, we're going to do off camera, we're just going to loop, pop 2 rivet holes, and do the same thing over here, and that will give us our finished strap. Okay, so we're going to just set our rivets, and then we're going to head on over to the finished table to give our bag a look. All right, we just riveted our strap on, and that's it. That's our last step, and you can see we did our side rivets also just right next to our seam. Okay, so they still look like they line up even though they're a little off center. That's totally fine. You don't want to interrupt any of that stitching that you did or anything like that. You just want them to stand up. We're going to go ahead and unzip our bag. And here we are on the inside. So we've got that slip pocket in the back. We have our bag tag on there, and you can see our strap connectors. I think this is such a fun, innovative way to do strap connectors. I am such a big fan. I also think that, so I got a little bit close on my zipper, you guys saw. It's a little difficult to zip and unzip. I might unpick this and pull my zipper out again. We'll see. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think that that's probably the most difficult part of this whole bag, because you have this zipper in here. You can't really see if your materials match up or not. And so that's like key. And just make sure you have enough space for your zipper to sort of live its best life up here. I don't like to edit things out. I like to be really real. This bag is super doable. I think that with some bag making skills sort of in your back pocket, you can definitely make this. It is not that difficult. It's just like paying attention to those like little things, and the more you make it, the more you'll get it. I haven't made this bag before. Like I said, it's brand new, and so now I know that I need to make sure I pull my zipper up just a teeny bit more and give myself a little bit more space. So that's totally fine for me. I'm okay with that. I love these bow bags. I like to keep them. I'll probably put this one up on a shelf for now at least. But yeah, so there's that. I also wanted to point out, look, I love this. Love it. That stitching. Also just wanted to point out that this is a really beautiful bag. And if you wanted to if you do a lot of shows or fairs, or you have like a space at a store or something like that, and you want to make some like higher end looking bags, I think this is a great option. And if you leave the bow off, you're gonna bust these out so fast. The bow is optional. Everything is optional, really. You don't even have to put a slip pocket inside. You can still make a bag that looks really high end and sort of leave off these extras. And you're gonna be able to get some of these done really quickly, and a lot of them in different materials, different scapes, different etc. And I think that you'll be able to attract a different audience. I know when I do like fairs and festivals, I tend to make a lot of things that are really fast to make, so they end up being like pouches and things like that, which are fine. But this would be a great pattern to add to your arsenal because it is so fast. You know, the exterior comes together super fast, the interior is super fast. If you're leaving off sort of some of the extras, you're going to be able to make a bunch of these. Look at, like, the corners are great. You're going to be able to make a bunch of them pretty quickly and add just like a really beautiful high-end looking bag to your table. But the bow, oh, you got to get it and try it. I have made a bunch of bows, and this is probably my favorite bow pattern from any pattern designer that I have made so far. So very well done. Like I said, it's a new designer. This is a new pattern. And I think that she does a beautiful job of letting you know every step, every seam allowance, and gives you what you need to be successful, which I think is really important when you're making a bag. So, of course, thank you for letting me test. Thanks for being with me while I figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. And as always, I hope that you enjoyed today. I hope that you'll grab this pattern and give it a go for yourself. It's totally worth it. And I hope that you have an awesome day today. I will see you soon.